Hey, July 24th, 2024, I'm CW, one of your favorite historians. If not, well, to hell with you. Just kidding. I appreciate some of the emails I got. I'm surprised I'm getting those. But apparently, yeah, students are getting a little flexed out there. It's coming up on August. Yeah. You've heard of the Gordon rule. That applies to college. But I'm not sure if the high schools are going to have it in Volusia County or Florida. Start practicing. You can't write with just your thumbs. Use a keyboard. Um, so we're just going to go over something quick. Someone asked about this, and I'll give it to you. Just top 10 technical advances throughout history. I assume that's what you meant. That's not the way you phrased it, but we'll go into it. Number one, number one, 3500 BCE, which we all know means before the Common Era, used to be before Christ. 3500 BCE, before the Common Era, someplace in a nice area, Mediterranean, no, excuse me, Mesopotamia. We'll call it the city of or, you are here. Samaria. They invented the wheel. No, they didn't slap it on a cart or a chariot. They used it to make pottery first. They got some guy going like this or getting a rope or a leather strap. They used it to make pottery. Why? Because at the same time they were busting out of surplus crop from this new thing called agriculture. Had to keep the rats from eating it, so we needed to make something to put the corn in or the rye in or the barley in order to sell it, transport it, barter with it. Then we had this new writing came along later. It's called writing. Probably the first thing it said is this cow belongs to me. All right. Number one, the wheel. Number two, the printing press. Gutenberg gets credit for it. However, there's at least a German and a couple of Dutch guys that are in line with this, with that movable type thing. Never mind the Chinese Buddhists that were doing this sort of stuff like a century prior. Oh, and don't forget the Koreans. They were doing it too, but they were using like wood blocks, not the copper based metal. But, if you're writing the press, make your own
History's
history.
written by the winners, Christian.
Gutenberg Press, printing press. Number three, harnessing electrical power. No, Ben Franklin had absolutely nothing about inventing electricity. It was kind of a natural thing. And he wanted to do experiments where he showed that lightning consisted of electrical charge, mostly by that little static charge at the key. By the way, he flew no kites. That was his son, who was probably in his 40s before he was the royal governor of New Jersey. So Ben wasn't out there in the rain. He's probably in the shed going, run faster. Sure. Yeah. Well, anyway, Thales, the Greek experimenter, years before, he noticed something called static electricity by rubbing fur with amber and how he could track feathers. So, yeah, the thought of another type of force like that's been out there for a while. We'll give Ben a pass, but that's okay. The telephone, number five, or number four if you're counting at home. A.G. Bell, okay, Alexander Graham Bell gets credit for the invention. Probably another Italian had something similar before him, but we'll just stick with what we got. This real time communications, you could actually hear a voice right now, not delayed, right now. This just opened up everything. From here, you got telephone, communications, over the lines, internet, instant, DoorDash. Need I go on? Okay, number five, the internal combustion engine. Yeah, steam was a good thing. Horses were a good thing. Man was a good thing. Man gets tired. Horses get tired. Steam, just not enough to it. Gasoline, controlled explosions within a chamber, activating pulses using fossil fuel. I'm sorry. More power, more horsepower, more movement, more speed, more commerce, basically. So, yeah, internal combustion engine. Number six, the computer. No, not courtesy of Steve Jobs or that dork out in Seattle. I'm not a turtle, but you look like one. No. First idea of a computer came up by a guy named Charles Babbage, a mathematician from England. Actually invented the difference engine. Worked. It worked. It could hold 1,050-digit numbers. It had its own memory. Sweet. Later designed something called the analytical engine, but it was going to be as big as a house. So they never did that. I think the British messed around with it in 1991. And it was probably accurate up to 31 digits. But no, way back then, that's when that idea came along. Uh, Later on, we started building these monstrosities. What did Jetson call it? The ENIAC machine. They were as big as a house. The computers at NASA in the 60s, you can go back and look. These things were meant just to get people up into space and back. And as backup, you had all these guys smoking cigarettes in a little sandbag ashtray, black skinny ties with these things called sliding rules. That was the backup. Moving on. Number seven, you're looking at it. The internet. Uh, mm, just leaps and bounds. And that's why technology works sometimes. The wheel, when they put it on a cart or made a cart from it, it jumped again. Now the internet. Al Gore did not create or invent. He did help it by, trying to get some funding for it or something. But no, that was a creation of a couple of guys in the military and a couple of schools. It's called the Advanced Research Project Agency Network. Set it up along certain phone lines so the military and the Pentagon could talk to its research uh, schools like MIT and Berkeley. Probably not Berkeley. They're so far to the left, it's out there. But that's how that started. Sole telephone lines just for computer, um, computation and communications. Ah, well, I think what was his name? Give me a second. Tim Lee in 1989. He invented that WWW thing, the World Wide Web, which gave us a protocol and hyperlinks, text, and all this. So it was open up for you. You could use it. Smartphone. I doubt any of you can remember this. In the 80s, they came out with this brick they called a telephone, and it could charge up and it would actually communicate over lines depending on the weather and lack of sunspots. But it was a brick and it didn't do anything else, just communication. When the smartphone came around, not the BlackBerry, which is kind of passe now, a camera, a tip calculator, and then Steve Jobs got fired, and then Apple brought him back. Then we had the iPhone, a new type of smartphone. It did it all. It had access to the internet, take pictures, had that tip calculator all you old people need. Wink, wink. Um, just and now it's not it's a photo album for me. I do my banking on it, everything. Oh, this one is scary. AI, artificial intelligence.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
The jump on this one is yet to be seen. I've used AI a couple of times to, you know, see how good it is. Not impressed yet. Um, Sometimes the AI creates, naturally I ask for like an essay on a historical event. Well, it creates new characters, new history, a what if. So it's not quite there yet, and it's going to be used for other things, measurements, medicine. It's already being used for manufacturing, robots. But that's kind of okay because those are very tedious operations, and if it does it over and over and never needs you know, a shoulder surgery, that's great. But it's not quite there yet. Students, if you're using AI to write essays, I have now got a program that will detect if you're using AI. So, just like a radar detector, it's manufactured by the same people who brought you radar guns. That makes no sense at all, does it? AI has now got detectors out for its own AI. So it can tell you when it's artificially written. So, yeah. Last but not least, pretty political. I hate putting political crap together. Reusable fuel sources. We got to do something. You know, they say, oil and gasoline can't last forever. Well, technically, it will last through my lifetime. It will last through your children's lifetime, probably another 200 years, at least for coal. But we have other things, the windmills, but yet they don't turn enough energy yet. Solar panels, they're getting better, but not in Florida, unless you can save them from falling apart during a rainstorm. Thermo um, or geothermo use, steam. We should be using that a lot more, something like that. It isn't really viable to me to have a Tesla charged up in my house by the use of a Stanton coal plant. So, got a little ways to go on that, but something has to be done, and it probably will be done because, like Plato said, necessity is the mother of invention. Try to remember that when you're writing your essays. That's going to be important. Okay, well, that's it for today. I didn't move on. I just couldn't do it all. But yeah, top 10. See you later. Oh, where's my sign off? I'm sorry. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe. Click like, make suggestions. I love comments. Not bad comments, but good comments. Subscribe, all that good crap. See you next time. Remember all that? Well, certainly the wheel, way in the past. But that was the mother of all inventions right there. Got it started. Well, that's history. It's all in the past. See you tomorrow. Talk about today or whatever else somebody dies or doesn't die. Bye.